So I'm holding it straight right now.
No, you're not.
Yeah, Red Rider, that's a straight machine there, Red Rider.
Where?
You might say it was the factory and picked it up. It's cheaper that way. What model is it?
That's just you had push. You told me to push.
It's better.
I did. You got what you wanted.
You pushed.
That was what you wanted.
You pushed it hard. Oh, almost. Keep going, keep going. Good, 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 good. Stop!
Oh, I thought you were saying good, like this is good. This is good, we should keep doing this. Not good, good, stop. Like, good, man, this is great.
No, like,
Superman couldn't even do this.
Superman did a damn good job.
Are you calling me Superman?
I didn't say that, but I sure implied it.
Thank you. Flop till you drop.
What the hell are you talking about? Oh, that one was awesome. You're in. Yeah, it's in. It's still in. It didn't go any further.
All right.
You're really good at whacking.
Oil leak. So there's the Titan, and it's right there, and it's all 100% finished. So long story short, I pulled the transmission, and whenever I pulled the transmission, I was then able to get down to the oil leak, which I'm going to show you. And then I literally was pulling the transmission as the hurricane was hitting. Yeah, that was a stupid idea. I don't know why I did that. It tipped over a little bit and got some fluid everywhere. I ended up solving the oil leak. So let's go ahead and pick up from there because all the footage of me removing the transmission got corrupted. So we're just gonna pick up from there. Transmission is out. Yeah, that was insane. Storm coming down, transmission not coming out the way I wanted it to. Issues here and there. Couldn't really film because it was pouring and had to get it done. Don't worry about why that's all torn down. I wanted to kind of get a good view of something, so I tore out more stuff than I kind of had to. Anyway, the issue on the truck is way funnier than I thought it was going to be. We have a lot of the stuff disconnected, and it happens to be this right here, and maybe one other thing, or maybe two. If we head under the truck, where we have a lot of progress done, a lot of off-camera process, because it's just an oil leak. It's not the most interesting thing in the world, and I'd rather get it done. So I didn't film as much of it as I should have, but maybe you can spot it. The dipstick was put in last. Like when the whole truck was done, the dipstick was put in after the transmission was in. It was, you know, I put it in from up there and down into here. And there's a little O-ring here because there's a hole here that it goes into. It missed its hole. Now how it didn't get shredded by the flex plate, I don't fully know. But it missed the hole. And so now this RTV for the rear main seal, the rear main seal is perfect actually if you look at it. Rear main seal looks great, but the plate that holds it in, I think it's called the rear main seal receiver. It does have some like oil around it. And I don't know if that is from this leaking. I think it is because it's all over everywhere. Or if that's from the RTV or the rear main seal itself. So, you know what, I can move that pretty good. Yeah, and I can get more oil to come out. Here, if I push up there, yeah, that gets wetter as I push up. I mean, if there was oil on top of it, it would do that. But I'm not gonna risk it is what I'm gonna say. So I'm putting this in, gonna put that back where it needs to be, and I'm going to redo this whole gasket here while I'm here. Why not redo it with RTV? So I'm gonna go grab that from the automotive store, and then that should be the oil leak fixed. Whenever I was looking through some old footage and found the third possible thing. Right here, you guys probably cannot tell, but there's some slight cracks inside here. Not the hole in the back, that's the drain, that's supposed to be there. But there are some slight cracks on this metal thing. And I don't know if that's leaking oil really, but I don't want to risk that. So I want to go ahead and put some JB Weld all in there, the high heat JB Weld. People fix whole engine block cracks, and so that is not an engine block crack, that's a crack of like this little bearing thing that sits in there. So it's not that big of a deal. Even though I don't think that that's probably the case, what's leaking, it could just be this and that combined, and maybe that as well. I'm gonna hit all three just to be extra safe, but it was a lot easier getting down here than I thought. I thought the torque converter was gonna be like an 8-hour process, but it actually was not that bad at all. So Yeah, here's a view of a Titan XD. Like that. Oh, and look, without the transmission in, engine moves a lot. Those engine mounts are loose. Wait a second. I didn't drain the oil from the engine. I might want to do that.
Maybe I should have hooked him up to Bessie and then took the boot off.
That seal is perfect in there. Not the RTV one, but the other one. Everything back on, RTV back on, dipstick with extra RTV on top of it. That is the drain, and the little crack is right above it. So I have some JB Weld in there. Gonna put extra layers. That's why I'm not gonna be doing anything else tonight. Gonna wait for that to cure, but lots of progress. So here's the Titan pretty much. As you guys can see, it's super disassembled, and there's a lot of work to get it reassembled. Everything's finished now. It's just about reassembly, and then I have my truck back, potentially, if the turbo actuator might need to get reprogrammed. So I saw a video online where this guy, I'm gonna demonstrate with the little torch, but I saw this guy had a four-wheel, and it had the plastic top, and it was green and dingy, and he wanted to sell it. So instead of painting or replacing the plastic, he did that.
Okay, but how long
And it
does
colors
that last
it.
for?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't want to paint these or anything. And so my fender liner, we're just going to do this. And I'm going to use the bigger torch from a farther distance, and it'll be great. And then these will look better.
Okay.
By the way, we got the torque converter in. We're about to put the transmission in. I've been skipping a lot on filming because I think you guys want to see this truck running more than you want to see an oil leak be fixed.
I don't want to see an oil leak, I'll tell you that. Hey guys, I ratchet strapped my transmission.
The house is for sale. And it's been about a week since I've even turned the camera on, and a lot is happening. Getting the house ready for selling. And also I had a ton of interviews and a ton of processes for a new job. So I did get the job, so I'm starting a new job in January, which is pretty great. Anyway, we have everything bolted down perfectly on the truck. Well, maybe not perfectly because there's some issues. But you guys see, you know, transmission's up there. Need to tuck some wires and stuff. I also need to inspect the wires because we're having some electrical issues. But you guys can see the truck's in a different position than it was earlier. So it runs and no oil leaks at all. I actually even moved it down the neighborhood a little bit, but I can't drive it on the street because my tags are 9 months expired. Anyway, this check engine light's gonna go away. But that traction light, that ABS light, that's gonna stay. But it's not gonna start in park. See, won't even try. But if I go to neutral, it would start. So I'm not gonna do it now because I wanna adjust a few things. So I wanna hook up the battery chargers, and then I also wanna check all the wiring down there. Probably gonna take some of the wiring off and clean it with like mass airflow sensor and stuff. Forgot to mention, turbos won't spool up. They did whenever it would run before pulling the transmission, but so everything was pretty much perfect besides for the oil leak. We pulled the transmission, we fixed the oil leak. I don't know why I'm saying we. Put it back in, and now the turbo doesn't spool up and there's a ton of transmission electrical issues. So let's get the battery voltage up and let's check some of those wires under there, clean them, and go from there. No oil. No oil coming down, which is awesome. But the turbo's not spooling, and I have the AT error, the AT check, the traction light, and the ABS light, which is all transmission related. So that's why I think maybe something's off there. Check this out. Truck's in park, right? take park and brake off. The truck is not in park. The shifter in the truck is in park, but the steering linkage in here is in neutral. So this needs to be this needs to be unbolted, pushed forward, and then rebolted in. Between that, the batteries, and cleaning the sensors, I feel like that'll fix it. So I reconnected the shift linkage thingy, and I don't know if it's in drive or park, but it's connected and it's not in neutral. Okay, so it's in park then. Yeah, because drive goes forward, reverse goes reverse, and it feels a lot better. Let's just see how it drives. Sounds like my turbos are back, so that's good. Oh. I mean, it's driving. Is it gonna shift? It shifted. I mean, it drives. Look at that, I'm driving my truck. Can y'all believe that? Now, it's not perfect. I obviously hear the issues. I think the turbo actuator needs to be recalibrated, for sure. Yeah, I don't think those turbos are really spooling. So it shifts just fine. It's just driving very, very similar to whenever I had to get my turbos recalibrated. The actuator recalibrated. So that's what I think is really going on. I think once we do that, then maybe some of those transmission codes go away. I'm not sure. I cleared a lot of them, and a lot of them have not returned. So we'll see. But it's progress. We're driving it. It just doesn't spool because the actuator is not calibrated. So if I hadn't seen this before, I'd probably be like more confused. Well, obviously more confused, but more scared and stuff. But right now I'm just like, okay, I know what this is. I know how this works. So I'm gonna have to trailer it to a dealer. Hopefully they'll recalibrate it, even though it's tuned deleted. One of them won't. We'll see if another one will. But yeah, that's where we're at with it. It's just gonna be a lot of like progress of handling these little issues. So I'll get it sent to the dealer soon to get recalibrated, and in the meantime I'll research those transmission issues, if there's some type of solution I come up with, or if I figure out they're illegitimate because of this reason, or you know, whatever combination you can think of for figuring out what those issues are about. I'm going to show you guys something, and I think there's some YouTubers out there, a lot of YouTubers would probably not want to show this. You know, they want to kind of like show themselves in a good light. They don't want to show what actually happened. I'm about to show you guys a mistake that I made. I had the transmission codes, you know, still being shown, as you guys obviously know, and one of them is the high temperature. The transmission fluid was too much in the high temperature, which is ridiculous because it was just looping around the neighborhood. So I come under here, and whenever I isn't that funny? Whenever I went to, there it is, when I went to like check it earlier, or whatever I did, it I didn't plug it back in, so of course it'd be reading wrong. So let's just see if that did anything. So let's read, clear, read. Okay, so the temp code went away, obviously, and that light that was there representing it went away. So now we have four-wheel drive error. So we have 3 codes on the transmission. So we have the ABS code, we have the MAV code. I think those 2 are just there because that main code is there. I think that the truck's just kind of confused, which I know sounds stupid, but Titans are weird, and I don't think those are fully legitimate because I get those all the time and then they go away and nothing changes. They probably are legitimate and I'm completely wrong. And then we have the P1818. So P1818 is whenever the shifter in your truck is in one gear and the transmission's in another, it throws off, which you guys remember earlier in the video. We had the truck in park on the shifter. It was just like this, where it was in park in this position, but the truck itself was actually in neutral. So the ECU throws that code whenever the ECU believes it's in one gear, but the truck's actually in the other. what I don't fully understand is why it's still in that gear. Or I'm sorry, why it's still throwing that code whenever it is in the right gear, because reverse is reverse now. Like, see, it moves. It's in reverse. And you know, I tested it and it is in park. Maybe it has to be perfect for it to register. Maybe once it throws that code, it's a code that doesn't just go away. Not really sure exactly why it's still being weird. And I think the top 2 codes are a consequence of that code. I don't think that they're legitimate, because that's an ABS code that comes up every time there's a transmission issue. And then U1266, I literally looked it up earlier and said something along the lines of like coming up every time there's transmission issues. So, you know, I don't know. So when I clear it, yes, the ABS and the shift linkage code comes back up. So one thing I probably should go re-inspect the wires, just make sure everything is there, because every time I clear it and come back, those 2 always return. So I'm not too like freaked out, honestly, because this should be pretty simple to fix, but as of right now, it's just not fixed. So I think I discussed it earlier in the video. Plan is send it to go get the turbo actuator recalibrated at the dealer, and yeah, in the meantime, I'll inspect the wires and do a bit more research. So that still stands as the plan. But I'm thinking that all these issues on the truck are going to be handled pretty quickly, and then I'm going to go get my AC recharged, because I don't have AC now because of pulling the engine and all that. And then I'll be done, like done with all the issues from changing out the engine, I hope. But we're almost there. We're super close. Really, really close.